Look at yourself. Look at the majority of men around you. They spend their lives begging for attention, dissecting screenshots with their friends as if they were the Enigma code, and hoping an iMessage notification will finally come to validate their existence. It is a form of emotional beggary that makes me nauseous. If you are here, it's because you've understood that hope is the strategy of losers. In a world of noise, I am going to teach you how to read the radio frequency of the subconscious. I'm going to reveal why most guys let themselves be led astray by mirages they mistake for oases. But above all, stay sharp, because I'm going to open a loop on the black sign. This is the ultimate validation technique used by elite Mossad negotiators and high-level profilers. If you master this detail, which I will deliver at the end, you will never again wonder if someone is into you. You will have the answer before she has even finished formulating her social lie. Welcome to the raw reality. Just a quick word before we keep going. I'm Logan. We started this channel, Psychology Reborn, for anyone who really wants to understand how their brain works and level up their mindset. Our goal is to share keys and truths that you don't hear everywhere else. If you want to give us a boost and make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, please think about subscribing. It's free and it helps us out a ton. All right, let's get back to it. Ready? Let's begin. The first marker of superiority is the brow flash. It's a micro-expression lasting less than 200 milliseconds. It is the precise moment when the reptilian brain overrides a social facade. I recently observed a deal being finalized in a private lounge in Manhattan. The client maintained a marble face, a perfect poker face, but his eyebrows betrayed his excitement at the mention of a specific figure. It is exactly the same in attraction. In my opinion, if your eye isn't sharp enough to catch this flash the second you walk into the room, you've already lost the game. This is the only moment of pure truth before the person's social mask snaps back into place. A man who masters his frame doesn't look at the smile. He looks at the electrical impulse that precedes it. If you see nothing, don't waste your time. An alpha knows where to invest his energy, and he doesn't squander it on barren ground. Let's go down a level. We're going to talk about what I call the bedrock of truth. The masses think everything is played out in the eyes. That is a complete rookie mistake. The face is a manipulation instrument trained since childhood. But the feet? Nobody thinks about their feet. That is where the real intention lies. It is the GPS of the soul. Wait, stop, take a breath. I can see some of you already drifting, thinking about your notifications or that girl you're going to text tonight. If you're half listening to this while scrolling something else, do yourself a favor. Turn this off. Go back to being a spectator. This isn't a podcast for background noise. This is a surgical manual. If you can't focus for 30 minutes on the very mechanics that govern your life, you've already accepted your seat in the back row of society. Are we clear? Good. Let's move to the mirroring. Imagine you are at an exclusive event in Miami or a gala in Dubai. You are talking to a woman who is giving you all her visual attention. She's laughing, she's brilliant. But look at her feet. If her toes are pointing toward the exit or toward another point of interest in the room, she is socially consuming you just to avoid appearing alone. But her intention is elsewhere. My opinion is radical. If her feet are not anchored toward you, you are a filler accessory. A high-value man never settles for being a temporary distraction. Learn to read the direction of the movement before the movement even begins. We've reached the critical point: behavioral synchronicity. Most low-tier gurus will tell you to copy the other person's gestures to create a bond. That is a technique for a car salesman at the end of his career at Ford. It's heavy, it's visible, it's low-grade. Real mirroring, the elite kind, is a matter of rhythm and tension, not gestures. Now, I know what the critics, the average thinkers, will say. Logan, isn't this manipulative? Isn't this just overthinking human connection? Let's be real for a second. You are being manipulated every single day by algorithms, by marketing, by people who understand these rules better than you do. The only choice you have is to remain a victim of the invisible or to become the architect of your own reality. If calling it overthinking makes you feel better about being clueless, that's your prerogative. But in this room, we deal in results, not feelings. The anecdote is simple. I've seen men try to manipulate situations by imitating every movement of their interlocutor, like circus monkeys. It is an insult to the intelligence of the person in front of you, and it shatters your own frame. Real power lies in leading the dance. You don't copy, you impose a cadence. If the person across from you adjusts to your breathing or your posture after a few minutes, they have entered your world. That is when the power dynamic flips. Don't be the mirror, be the source of the reflection. Here we are, the black sign. This is what separates disposable interactions from power connections. The average human brain is saturated with digital trash. It forgets everything. But the brain of a captivated person becomes a high-precision scanner. Look at your hands right now. Are they steady or are you fidgeting? Most people are so disconnected from their own bodies that they couldn't spot a train wreck in front of them, let alone a micro-expression. Social intelligence starts with self-mastery. If you can't control your own physical output, you will never be able to decode someone else's. Take a second, ground yourself. Because what I'm about to tell you regarding the black sign, it changes everything. If you mention a specific architectural detail or an obscure preference for a wine grape in the middle of an insignificant sentence, and that detail resurfaces weeks later, you have infiltrated her neurological priority system. This isn't politeness, it is mental submission. Her brain has decided that every word coming out of your mouth is strategic data to be archived for the future. It is the purest indicator of interest that exists on this planet. If she remembers what others forget, you own her attention. And attention, in this century of mass distraction, is the only currency that truly matters. We're going to discuss a concept the masses totally ignore: the micro-adjustment of vital space. Most people think that to show interest, you have to get closer. That is a binary, crude vision. The elite observe the reaction to crossing the red line. I was at a private event in a Chicago penthouse a few months ago. I was watching a man who thought he was dominating the conversation. He moved closer to a woman by only 5 centimeters. An almost invisible movement. She didn't step back, but she slightly pivoted her shoulder to create a shield. He didn't see it. He kept talking for 10 minutes, even though he was already disqualified. He had violated her territory without obtaining a visa. My opinion is final. A high-value man never begs for space. He occupies it and waits for the other to invite him further in. The ultimate sign isn't that she moves closer to you, it's that she doesn't move a single millimeter when you enter her comfort zone. This is what we call passive presence validation. If you take a step to the side and she readjusts her position to stay at the exact same distance from you, you've won. She is maintaining the connection magnetically. It's an invisible dance. If you have to force in proximity, you've already lost your frame. An alpha is a center of gravity. He doesn't chase planets. He lets them enter his orbit. If she reduces the space herself, it's a surrender. If she accepts you reducing it without facial tension, it's an invitation. Everything else is just noise. I wasn't always the one observing from the penthouse. 5 years ago, I was the guy in the Chicago bar, convinced I was killing it. I spent 2 hours talking to a woman, ignoring every single sign I just taught you. Her feet were at a 45-degree angle to the door. She hadn't mirrored a single breath, and I was so blinded by my own ego that I missed it. When I finally asked for her number, the look of pity in her eyes was worse than a no. It was a "you're invisible." That humiliation was my fuel. It's why I'm so cold about this today, because I know the cost of being blind. Why am I sharing this doctrine with you? Because the world is divided into 2 categories: those who endure social dynamics and those who architect them. Most people will stay in the illusion their whole lives. They will call it luck, feeling, or fate. They are wrong. Thinking back to my early days when I was being led around by signals I didn't understand, I realized that the lack of knowledge is the only true poverty. Don't be the one who asks, be the one who knows. Don't be the one waiting for an answer. Be the one decoding the raw reality. Leave a comment if you have the courage to admit your past mistakes. We only grow in cold lucidity. Next week, we'll talk about the psychology of the breakup and how to maintain a frame of iron when everything seems to be collapsing. Stay focused. Excellence is not an option. It is your only prerequisite.